So welcome to Paleo Gaming and another Phoelix the Phnatic, brought to you as always by our sponsors over at the Chirp app. So today I would like to talk a little bit about the format changes that the LCS will go through now that the summer split is just around the corner. We're days away from the summer split actually. And very exciting. And one part of the exciting news, it was released quite some time ago, but one new thing for this split is that the European LCS will no longer be playing best of ones but best of twos, and the North American LCS will no longer be playing best of ones but best of threes. So NA is basically adopting the Korean system, the Korean format, whereas Europe is adopting the Chinese format of playing League of Legends. So, in general, for the European LCS and, well, the North American LCS too, the fact that we will now be playing series instead of best of ones will have implications, of course, and I think that this is a good thing. One thing that I think sets Western teams behind a little, and I've heard this opinion from many others as well, is that we're so used to playing best of ones, so that when we actually show up for international competition, where we face Chinese and Korean teams that are used to playing best of twos, best of threes, best of fives in a much larger extent than we are here in Europe and North America, the Western teams have less skill, basically less experience and less skill in playing long sets of series and being able to adapt from game to game and drafting for a game one and for a game two and for a game three, and how to use a game one to feel out your opponent and gather information rather than just going off and trying to win game one right away. So I think this will be a good thing, the fact that we will now be playing more series in the LCS regions as well. So I like that a lot. And if we look to Fnatic and EU, where we have this best of two system for Fnatic, I think it's especially good because Fnatic, they were, if we look back to season 5, they were good all through the split. They were very, very good. In best of ones as well. I mean, they went 18-0, but not all of those wins were clear-cut wins where they like stomped right from the early game and onwards. A lot of times where Fnatic won, and this was something that went on from the regular season of the European LCS to playoffs to then Worlds as well, is that a lot of victories came from first being in deficit, even if it's just one game. There were a lot of games against a lot of teams where Fnatic were actually behind by quite much, actually. I remember a game, for instance, against, I think it was Giants in the European LCS, not one of the strongest teams in EU by far, and still having massive problems, even to an extent where we were starting to lose Nexus turrets before we were actually able to bounce back and take the win eventually. So Fnatic is a team that has shown before that we have a mental resilience, a mental fortitude, and an ability to come back in a game. And during the spring split, I had a problem with this sort of logic because so much of the season 5 team was gone that it was hard to apply those things to this new Fnatic. But something that has changed as well for this summer split is the fact that Yellowstar now has returned. So not only do we have 3 out of 5 players that were in this season 5 Fnatic, one of them is Yellowstar. And this does not only bring back the support player and a guy who knows 2 others of them very well, this brings back a structure of communication and leadership that was in place when we had these good qualities. So I think this strong leadership is a big reason as to why Fnatic had this resilience, had this mental fortitude that made them able to come back constantly to turn deficits into wins. So for Fnatic, I think that not only have Fnatic proven both in Season 6 and Season 5 that we are good at playing in series. I mean, not only do we have Yellowstar, we got Febvin and Reckless who played well in series. They're both experienced now when it comes to international play and playing series. We also have Spirit, who's played a lot of his career in both Korea and China, so he's very used to playing in series as well, in best of threes and best of fives. I don't know really that much about Gamzu before he came to NA, so I can't comment on that actually, how big his experience should be when it comes to this. But still, we have a team with players that are used to playing like this more than many other players in the European LCS. So that is a very good thing. And now we have this leadership structure that we had in season 5 that made them so good at making these comebacks. So I believe that this strong leadership is a big reason, and we've got that back now. So for other teams, losing the first game might very well throw you off and make you more prone to actually losing a series 0-2. But Fnatic will, I feel, more than a lot of other teams, have what it takes to turn a 0-1 situation into a 1-1 rather than making it just go all bad. So that is a good thing about playing in a series, because Fnatic will be able to adapt, will be able to change, will be able to come back. They've shown that before, and they have this leadership now. They have the structure of communication with Yellow Star on top. And so I believe for Fnatic, maybe especially, definitely compared to some teams in the LCS, this will be a really good thing. There are obviously other teams that are very experienced when it comes to playing series, that are very good at adapting. Origin has a lot of international experience and just experience overall. We got very experienced players in H2K as well. So yeah, I think Fnatic's not the only team that is going to benefit from this change, but definitely one of the big winners when it comes to implementing a best of 2 series, best of 2 format rather than a best of 1. But when it comes to this, this leads me into one point of the best of 2 discussion that has been going on since Riot released the announcement that this is the format change that they're going to make. One thing that has been talked about a lot on like Reddit and Twitter is the fact that we are now able to have draws. And a lot of people are not happy with that because they feel they take away something from the competition, from the tension, if we're able to have draws. And as those people put it, no winners. But, and Riot said we're implementing this in Europe because the soccer is so big there, and they're used to playing sports where they can have draws and la-di-da. But the important issue here is that we're playing in a league, in a series where we accumulate points to get us towards playoffs in the end. The top 6 teams with the most points or wins, as it was before, they're the ones who go to playoffs. So this means that draws will have big implications on the standings as well. Don't look at a 1-1 as a draw, as nobody won. Look at a best of 2 as an opportunity to get either 2, 1, or 0 points. If you get 0 points, that's really, really bad. If you get 2 points, that's really, really good. If you get 1 point by, getting a draw, that is still going to have an impact on your standings in the league. Getting a 1-1, I mean, people who talk about draws, they're talking about League of Legends and the EU LCS as if the 2 teams fighting right now in a best of 2 are the only 2 teams competing against each other. That is not the case. These 2 teams are competing against all other teams in the European LCS. I mean, when a team like Fnatic, who's usually a top tier team, plays one of the bottom tier teams, it's not important for Fnatic to win because they want to stay above Splice. They want to stay above Elements, or Schalke 04 as they're called now. That's not why they want to win that game, to be able to come out on top of that particular opponent. It's because they want to come out on top of the entire league. Getting a win against the bottom tier teams are important to get more points than your top contenders. And this is where draws still can be impactful. If you go 1-1 one week and your top contender goes 0-2, then you're still coming out ahead this week. So draws will have both positive and negative implications on your standings depending on the results of your competitors around you. So a draw is not like just this stalemate where nothing happens, where it's like, okay, both going up, nothing happening, nobody's beating the other. That's not true, because there are all these teams around each other all the time fighting each other. Some will win 0-2, lose 0-2, some will win 2-0, some will go 1-1, and depending on what happens around you and how well you play, a draw can be a win and a draw can be a loss in the end. One draw instead of 1-0-2 might very well be the thing that decides if you're top 3 in the end or if you're top 4. It might be the thing that decides if you win or lose. Getting a 1-1 instead of a 0-2 might be the thing that determines if you get relegated or not, or if you have to play promotion series. So draws are not uneventful things that don't affect the game at all. It is very impactful, and I don't think we need to worry about that. I don't think the fact that draws will come in now will make the EU LCS less interesting, because in the end it's all about getting to a position to get yourself to playoffs, and then when we come to playoffs, that is where we really decide the winners, and then we're in knockout stage and there are no draws. They're not changing playoffs. It's not like we will have 2 winners of the European LCS when things are done. It's not like we will have 2 teams on the number 1 spot when the regular season is over. When that happens, there are tiebreakers to decide who wins and who doesn't. I mean, theoretically, 2 teams could come out with the same amount of wins when the regular season is over in a best of 1 system as well. So you'd have to have tiebreakers to decide who actually won and didn't. So not that much has changed actually, except that we get to see more games, the teams get to play more games, and they get to adapt more. They will get better at picks, they will get better at bans and drafting, at gathering information about your team when you play, and then directly implementing changes from those from that information. I mean, now in the best of 1 system that we had, if you got a lot of information when you played Origin, they like to play these picks, he's good at that and he's not good at that, then you're going to play him the next time way longer ahead in time, where the meta might even have changed and that information is useless. So the information now that we gather in the first game is information that we can use in the second game to get ahead, to either close out the series and really make it 2-0 if we notice, okay, like if we play a game and we notice that this player does not know how to play these champions and these roles, then we really abuse that in game 2 to make sure that we really get a win. Or we notice that, okay, if we would have played more to top lane and have our jungler focus more around there, we would have had a much bigger shot at winning this game that we lost now, and then we implement those changes and then we're able to get a 1-1 instead of a 0-2. So I think getting a best of 2 system is really interesting. And I think it basically will only have positive effects on the European LCS. I think it will become more entertaining to watch. I think it will become probably more entertaining to play for the players. And I think it will elevate the quality of League of Legends in the West. Now, the only thing that I don't know is why they really decided to have 2 different formats for Europe and for North America. Why they just didn't decide on one LCS format. But yeah. I'm not against the best of 2s. I'm not against the fact that there could be draws, because it doesn't really matter. It'll still get you points and implement the standings. So I really like the fact that we will have a best of 2 system in Europe and a best of 3 system in North America. And I think that not only the region will benefit from this, but Fnatic especially are probably going to benefit more than a lot of other teams in Europe for this coming split due to this format change. So good things to come. Now, don't forget to check out that Chirp app and subscribe to this gosh darn YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye.